Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, welcome to Talking in Ovals. I am Alex Cuesta, and before we welcome in Dave, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. We have made it. We are here. I hope everyone had a happy and safe new year. Dave, you're here, so you made it back safe. What's going on, my man?
Did. I'm
Did
just
you
having
do anything eventful?
no, my daughters were here at the house. We just had fun, that their whole goal was to make it to midnight, and they both did, and then they got to actually sleep in later, which was actually kind of nice. So it was a win-win, but I am having a few minor reservations about my list last week. I don't want to make any sort of addendum to it, but like after you do that, you're like, I should have said this guy, I should have said this girl, but it is what it is. I stick with what it was, and I had fun doing it.
Yeah, we didn't do much of anything eventful. So our eventfulness was on New Year's Eve. We brought home a new member of a family. We have a puppy named Oreo now.
I saw on Facebook.
Yeah, he's a little buddy. So we got him. That's what we did. And my 5 and 3-year-old stayed up till midnight. They both made it. We watched, well, the thing is, the trick was we watched 2 kids movies. That was my big celebration. We watched Bolt, and then we watched live action Lion King, which led us to a half an hour to go. They were wired up. My wife actually decided to sleep. She slept for 3 hours, and I had to wake her up 10 minutes before it started. So nice. Before the ball dropped. So she got to rest, which was nice.
Getting old, man.
Getting old, am there. But you know what, though? That's what it's all about, though. Friends, family, getting through the new year. So it is Tuesday, January 2nd. Today is when we're recording of 2024, episode 69. If you like what you hear today, give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars on Spotify and iTunes. Spread this word of mouth, and go look for us on the socials at Talking in Ovals. So last week, we had a great time. It was a rare occasion that we don't have a guest on, but we had fun. You talked about your top 5s. We ran down our top 5 athletes we've ever watched, top 5 of our all-time athletes we enjoyed. And then we also had a slew of honorable mentions because we acknowledged that 10 athletes in the history of track and field for each of us is hard. And we had some overlap there, and it was interesting. Some of the people that Dave watched were my legends, and it was just kind of funny to show like the gap there. But, it was difficult to really do, to narrow it down, but it was fantastic. It was fun. Dave, you said you wanted to make an addendum, but I had a great time doing it.
I don't want to make an addendum, but I'm like, was I focused too much on the distance runners? But I'm like, but that's what I did, so that's who I followed, And I'm like, listen, to mention Bob Kennedy, like he wasn't in those guys' leagues, like with Bekele, but he was Bob Kennedy, like he was my guy. Like, it was American to break 13 minutes. It was like a big deal.
I feel like that's the same thing with me mentioning Nick Simmons, right? Nick Simmons was really good, but he was not like, he had a outside shot at getting a medal in the Olympics because of his kick, but he was never somebody that you thought was truly going to threat for a gold, right? Nick was a good one.
Well, he also had David Rudisha, so.
David Rudisha, but Nick did have the distinguishing factor of making the beer mile popular. Now his beer mile record did get broken, but the beer mile was something all collegiate runners did. Nick decided to throw it on YouTube and blow it out there, and again, now it's become a thing.
We loved how great of a year that Ingebrigtsen had. The only bad race that he had was that 5:30 beer mile. I was a little disappointed.
You know what, though? I don't think
it was 2 days after he just doubled at Worlds, and I think it was his bachelor party, so there might have been some more than just those 4 cocktails that were being consumed, but
probably. Hey, listen, what is there? The 4 beer, you have to at least have like 2 or 4 beers in you before you can even compete. So it's something like that. Every school, every team has different rules. And any coaches listening that are collegiate coaches, your athletes don't do this. I promise. Wink, wink. But anyway,
that stopped about 2010.
Yeah, no, yeah, it doesn't happen. But anyway, so still mad at all of our coaching friends that they haven't sent us PRs yet. A little bit on us. We've been a little lazy about hounding them. We're going to get back on you guys. And like I said, I know some of you listen. So you know who you are. We're coming after you. And that is a threat. Anyway, let's jump into this week's show. This week's show, we're going to have a great time because we've had this gentleman on before, and it comes to a point with him is there's so much knowledge that we need to continue to bring him back because we can't Joe Rogan with him. We can go 3-4 hours, but I don't know if everyone here would want to listen to 3-4 hours of us just yapping, but he is Jim Lambert. He is a veteran New Jersey track and field reporter, covers the sport for New Jersey MileSplit. It is someone that it's an honor if you're a runner to be mentioned by Jim in an article. What's going on, Jim?
What's up, guys? Hey, honored to be back on with you guys. And like you said, we could go for 3 to 4 hours. We could just kind of break it up and, take a break for, a snack and come back and keep going. I mean, I can just do this stuff all day and night. And the fact that you guys have a forum for this is just fantastic. And, I can ramble on and on about New Jersey track and field and cross country. And the fact that I found 2 guys like yourselves who want to listen to it all, like you said. I can't get my wife to listen to me for more than, 30 seconds, a minute. Hey, how was your day? And before I can just tell her she's gone. So it's nice to have some guys who are as passionate about the sport as I am, and about all the listeners out there that that follow this sport so religiously. So thanks for having me back on. I can't wait to dive into like you guys said, a review of the cross country season and a look ahead to what's going to happen maybe indoors.
Yeah, I told my wife about all of my cool guests, and she's just like, yeah, great. Like, she doesn't know anyone I'm talking about. She wasn't a runner. But the beauty of this for me is these episodes, I found out I could just kind of sit back and just listen to you and Dave and just have you guys go back and forth about New Jersey track and field history. Because, like, you remember this name? How about that name? Oh, yeah, this person. So we are going to jump right in, because I'm just going to sit back and listen to some encyclopedias. But
it's the beauty of it. Hey, Dave, it's the beauty of getting older.
It is.
You guys just have photographic memories. It's not even getting older. You guys just remember everything. I don't know.
I'm not as versed as Jim in the last 5 years, but before that, I was good. So, especially like the '90s were more my era. I'm pretty good with the '90s stuff going on. But anyway, it's 2024, but we just finished an epic 2023 XC season. So, Jim, why don't you just start off maybe by just giving us a general synopsis, and we'll get into some more detail. So kind of how you look back in your view and what you remember.
Yeah, when I think about the cross-country season that just concluded, quite simply, it was one of the best seasons of all time. You break it down, and we spoke before the season started about expectations and things that could happen and making some predictions. And I know we talked about how great the Union Catholic girls and CBA boys, the potential they had to become one of the best teams ever, if not the best. And that's how it played out. Starting off with CBA, I mean, on paper, they had the Magnificent Seven, took the line, and they crushed it. Week after week, those guys lined up and just took down the biggest course records out there. They took Homedale 3 times under 16 minutes, 15:51 non-public A to break the course record, 12:44 to break the Van Cortlandt record, and Bowdoin 16:07. They have all 3. Those are the 3 biggest course records you can own if you're a team from New Jersey. That being said, I know I spoke to the team quite a bit this season about what does it take to be called the greatest team ever. Now, that's something that can be debated among people. The way I look at it, you just throwing out the numbers. Like I said, this CBA team is the fastest team ever, the most talented team.
Does fastest mean greatest, though?
Well, it depends how you want to define that. Now, the 2011 CBA team won a national championship.
Yeah.
Those guys in 2011 wouldn't trade that national championship for the 3 course records that I talked about. No way. But this CBA team wound up finishing 6th at Nationals. They won a Nike Northeast Regional. They went out to Portland, got 6th. It's hard. You're facing different teams. This is on a different course than a 2011 team ran. The 2011 team did not come close to these times they ran. I think they ran 16:05 at Homedale. I think they were in the 16:20s at Bowdoin, and I don't think they broke 13 at Van Cortlandt.
And the thing is, too, it's like the thing that I think everyone needs to remember when even comparing these things, the grind of an XC season in order to get to that point where, Coach McCafferty did an amazing job this year with the team.
Oh, absolutely.
And the thing is, though, it's how do you get them to peak? And when you have the expectations that CBA has, they're running fast. And as a coach, it's real difficult to have these guys like, hey, dial it back. We have national title, expectations. And, it's just really difficult at that point. They get to Portland. Who knows how much they had left in the tank? And this is not a knock on the guys, but it is a real grueling and difficult thing where in 2011, you're talking about, Jim, they ran extremely well. They didn't get all these course records, but they all went at the perfect time and peaked at the perfect time at nationals. So it really just depends on how it plays out. And there's times you try to map it out. You try to schedule workouts. You try to schedule meets to get them to that point. But I mean, it's not a knock. These boys had a ridiculously good season. They had the greatest season in New Jersey history outside of winning the national title. They have it.
Yeah, they won everything else.
Yep.
And like you said, it's a tough grind. You're flying across country. You need some luck too. I mean, unfortunately for CBA, Joe Barrett was not 100% healthy. Right. He had been sick. And that's what happens. I mean, you need to be on your game every single week, and then nationals comes around. One guy's off, and that's the difference. That throws a monkey wrench into everything. So,
it's like, where do they place if Barrett runs like he did winning MOC? I'm sure it changes. I'm sure they can
top three at least.
Yeah. They probably get on the podium. And top four, most likely.
But you could say that about probably the top 10 teams at nationals, right? You could say that about those teams. They are all, and that's the thing. When you get there, CBA is, incredible, but you're running against, there's a reason why these teams get the nationals, especially the top teams. You're running against, that is a collegiate meet. That is a high level collegiate meet when you get to that point. You're running against the people you're going to run at big conference meets, at IC4As, at nationals, at regionals. These guys are going to see these individuals at different places as well. It's such a high level meet.
Yeah, I mean, and also you look at CBA. I look back at their 2013 team, which I felt was the best team in the state until this team this year. They match up almost identical. The 2013 team, that was Mike McClemens, who was a senior that year. He won Meet of Champs. They wound up second at nationals. They ran 15:52 at Homedale, 12:44 at Van Cortlandt, just 0.2 of a second difference in this year's team. And at Bowdoin, they were 16:14. So those two teams match up almost identical.
Yeah.
And I look at that as probably the two best teams in state history. 2011 team, like I said, you're not trading that trophy for course records.
Never.
Times.
It is prominently displayed in CBA somewhere.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, let me ask you guys this: do you feel a team from Jersey has to win the national title to be considered the greatest team ever?
No. I think there's too many circumstances. Like I was just going to say, I think it's hard to compare different years because you have to go back. Well, what was the weather like on this day at this meet?
XC is so subjective.
There's so many different factors.
There's a lot. You're right. And I remember I was out in Portland in 2011 when CBA won, and it was back when they ran on a racetrack. And it was a swamp. I mean, people are falling out left and right, so you can't even look at the times there. And CBA closed. I mean, they were behind with like a K to go, and they closed. Gorman came on, picked off a ton of guys. I mean, that team, they just knew how to finish and knew how to win. And I mean, that's the name of the game, right?
And you know what? And I think we definitely lucked out this year for the most part, weather-wise.
We did. Although that Van Cortlandt, I mean, CBA ran at 12:44.2.
Oh,
it was awful conditions that day.
We did have a couple Saturdays, but I'm talking more like groups and MOC. Like it actually worked out well.
Oh, it was perfect. The end of the season was perfect.
Otherwise,
but with CBA, I would love to see what CBA ran at 12:44, and it was terrible conditions.
It was.
Barrett ran 12:13 there. Who knows how fast that would have been? And that's the second fastest time ever, next behind I think it was Fay Mann at Van Cortlandt. They have the second fastest time ever at Bowdoin, once again behind Fay Mann. I mean, in Jersey, we compare teams to what they do on those courses, and they're the fastest team on all of them.
You will have no argument from me. It's right up there, if not the greatest. So I want to ask you about another team, because when it comes to greatest teams in Jersey history, there's probably a long line of parochial schools, non-public schools who would probably be up there. But where do you put this year Westfield teams in terms of public schools all time?
Yep.
I was looking at research. They have to be up there as one, if not the best public school in the history of.
I'm glad you brought this up. It's definitely on my mind to talk about. Is Christofelski's team this year is right up there as far as the best public schools of all time. I mean, 1600, they ran the Group 4 meet to win that. with I think they had 54 points, which ties the lowest score ever in Group 4 with Mainland. It's one of the best. Forget about just public. It's one of the best teams ever. They just happen to have their best team ever at the same time that CBA is their best team.
And the crazy thing is, we've talked to Chris. If Barrett has a sick on the Meet of Champs day, we could be saying Westfield's a Meet of Champs champion. If like there's something like that occurs, like they gave it everything they had. And if CBA wasn't on their game, we could be talking Westfield coming out of there.
No, they made them run, and it was a great trilogy. They met 3 times this year. It was tight at short coaches. Yeah. Meet of Champs is a little bit more of a gap there, but at
regionals was close.
I'm sorry. Regionals very close. I think it was 10 points.
Yep.
Yeah, they made them run there, and they got better and better. That's the mark of a great team, a great coach, is to have his team ready in those big races. And like I said, Westfield's the fastest public school ever at Homedale, 1600. Only, like I said, only CBA, Union Catholic ran a time like right on that a few years ago when they won Meet of Champs. But and to say you're the best Westfield team ever, I mean, my gosh.
I know.
Jack Martin and before him, Walt Clarkson. I mean, some of the greatest teams in history are from Westfield. And this was the best Westfield team ever, arguably the best public school team ever. I mean, Mainland will have something to say about that. They won back-to-back Meet of Champion titles, to break up CBA's run back when they had. I
remember that. I think I was in high school when Mainland did that.
Greg Hughes, Jimmy Weiner, those guys, yeah.
I think I was like a freshman, sophomore, and they did that, yeah.
It goes back to what we said before, though. Do you have to win it all to be the best public school? Or, I mean, because look who they ran up against. Any other year, we're looking at Westfield as a Meet of Champion, where they would have won the Meet of Champs many other times?
Running away, too. They would have done it. Now, here's the question that I have. Maybe it's because I'm a public school snob, and Dave probably is that way. Is there a little more weight to doing it as a public school, and especially as a coach, to being able to keep these boys, especially with the proximity Union Catholic is right there, to be able to keep these athletes there? And, there's so much opportunity, especially when you have a top guy like an Avery Keith and things like that, to go to these parochial schools that, he's then be running up against very equal types of talent, right? So is there, I'm not knocking what any parochial schools do. You have to be a great coach to bring out great talent, right? But is there like a little bit of weight there, like being able to convince these boys and convince them like, hey, we can compete. We are here. Like, how would you view that?
I think that's a great question. I think when you have a school, I mean, we're talking about Westfield, a big Group 4 school, with a great tradition like that, and great coaching like that, these kids come into school and they know they're at a great distance school. So I don't think there's too much of that concern there. I mean, heck, the non-public schools, they get, their athletes from different towns and things like that. And I'm sure the public schools, they lose a kid and they're, what if we kept this kid here? I mean, they can all play that what if game with the runners that go to CBA or
you know what though,
Paul the Sixth or whatever, wherever. But it's a tough situation. I mean, it's the bottom line is you're getting athletes in your school and you have to train them and you got to show up and race and
definitely.
I don't know.
I agree.
It's a great question. It's something
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to it, right? Like I know you're going to take away what the parochial schools do, and it's also, but it is, there definitely is a challenge, I think, to some of the public schools. And like I said, maybe it's me being a public school snob and like looking at it from the way I went to.
I think it depends on who the coach is at the public school.
True.
And tradition and history,
100%.
Chris is filled in great for Jack. Like. Chris is a Westfield guy. He bleeds blue, that's his school and he has the passion and the knowledge and he's
a very good coach.
And Dave, I think you hit it on the head before a little bit too. You said something about, the coaching. And I think a lot of it goes to the parents too. If you're a parent and you have a runner in 7th or 8th grade and whatever high school it is doesn't have a strong program, or maybe they don't have a coach who they feel is going to get the most out of their son or daughter, well, they're going to look to see, well, what are my options here? Well, I can send them here with this coach. I have a relationship with them, or look what they've done. And at the same time, it's a decision that parents make that they feel like is the best interest of their son or daughter. And
absolutely,
you can't knock it either way, right? Like it's difficult.
No, they're getting results, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I want to switch over to the ladies real quick.
Oh yeah,
overall impression of the ladies. We talked about Union Catholic at the beginning of the year. They produced.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what they had on paper, and like I just mentioned, Paige Shepard, one of the greatest freshmen to ever,
Incredible.
step on a cross country course.
And you mentioned her the last time that you're on. You're like, "There's this girl coming in. She's a freshman."
Yeah, you don't want to put too much pressure on someone who's never run in high school before, but the times from 7th and 8th grade were all there. This, you can pretty much see this coming, and she handled it great. I mean, she was the front runner for this team, and like we talked about with CBA, the Union Catholic girls team, are they the best team ever? I say, yeah, 1837 at Homedale Park. Are you kidding me?
Incredible.
The course record was 1901 by Voorhees. Back when they won the Media Champs in 2000, with Melanie Thompson in 2007.
I'd say 34 seconds is
34 seconds off.
Is a big jump.
To put that in perspective, 1837 was a second faster than what Emma Zawatsky ran to win last year at the Media Champions.
And that was their average, right?
Their average was a second faster than the winning time last year. I mean, they just blew it out of the water. I mean, Peyton Hollis, Shepard,
you also have Courtney Kaiser. Yeah, you have Kaylee Kaiser.
Kayla sister,
Devine.
Alyssa Lozano, Emmy O'Hearn, Kayla Devine, and a young group too. I mean,
a lot of freshmen too.
I mean, they're not going anywhere. This is the making. It's 2 in a row with the Media Champs. It's the making of a dynasty right here. With all these young talent, they lose Hollis and they lose Courtney Kaiser, but
shout out to Peyton. Peyton's an amazing girl. We loved having her as a guest.
Oh yeah, she had her on her show. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
But they answered him. I mean, it's tough when you're a young team like that to have that hanging around your neck from day one. You're number one. You're supposed to win.
Yeah.
And then you go out every single week and do it, breaking the course record at Homedale, killing the course record at Warren-Ankle Park when they won the county.
Yep.
They ran 1906 at Bowdoin, another Jersey course record. And like I said, Shepard leading the way. She won. I mean, 1754 she ran at Homedale Park.
Now, let's talk a little bit about Emma real quick, as we could jump back. Emma Zawatsky defending her Media Champions title against the young upstart Paige Shepard. I mean, talk about pressure, right? You see Paige running as well as she did all year. You see how strong Union Catholic is, the ability to run in a pack, right? And really run out in front of races and be fast. And Emma goes and responds and wins by 2 seconds, 17:52, running an amazing race. What does that say about Emma in terms of what's going on?
I have a lot to say. Well, I have a lot to say about the way she handled herself and the way she raced, the experience, the savvy she had. Shepard was really overly aggressive in that first half mile. She took it out. Adrenaline was pumping, and she went out real fast. Took a huge lead. I mean, you guys probably saw the videos of the race.
I did.
She had a gap.
Large.
She had a big gap. Yep. Zawatsky, the experience paid off. She knew that Shepard would probably fall back to her at some point, through the bowl, and she just methodically worked her way up, stayed patient, made a big move. And then to Shepard's credit, I mean, she came back.
She came back.
Zawatsky was starting to gap her after the tennis courts, going into the downhills there. You thought, okay, it's game, set, match, adios, it's over. And she hit the gas, and Shepard could have packed it in, but no. Boom, she hit the hammer one more time. It kept going and going, and she was closing in the straightaway. And it was just an epic battle between, the savvy, experienced, heart of a champion defending her title and the young, up-and-coming superstar, clashing like that. And like Emma said afterwards, she goes, my gosh, I mean, this girl is everything. She's the most talented girl I've seen come in the state in a while. No one's going to beat her in the next 3 years. And it was just the perfect storm, like I said, of the young upstart and the season vet. It was fantastic. And shout out to both of them, 1752 and 1754.
God.
Craziest part is we don't know if anyone's going to beat her in 3 years. You just don't know anymore. It's
you don't. No, you don't. No, you
wouldn't think so, but I mean, you don't know who's in 5th grade now somewhere, running.
That's right. And that performance is, I mean, Shepard 1754. It's third fastest freshman ever there. I mean, Brianna Guess, you guys remember, and Christina Allen. A couple years ago. And then Shepard goes and wins the regional.
Yep.
The second fastest Jersey time ever at Bowdoin. I mean, just a fantastic, one of the best freshman years ever. And Zawatsky, unfortunately, had an off race, had some issues during the race at the Foot Locker regional, didn't get the nationals, but her career, I mean, two-time champ, got to the Foot Locker finals. I mean, her cross country career, she goes down as one of one of the best we've ever seen to do what she's done.
The happiest
what do you
person,
think?
real quick, Dave, the happiest person during that cross country race watching Emma is the coach of Colorado. Watching how she ran strategically, did not panic, and trusted herself and her strength to be able to win that race. Even when, like, as a coach watching an 18-year-old senior, fast individual be able to do that, weather the storm, amazing. That you know, good on them. So
good on them. And a shout out to Todd Briggs for, he coached Emma these 4 years and got her in perfect position. She's always at her best in the big races, and it's just fantastic to see her close out her high school cross country career like that. And
what do you think? I mean, this is kind of a different question. When I was obviously in school, there was it was Kinney then. How much do you think that having 2 championships, does that take away anything, like between Foot Locker and Nikes, or do you think that it kind of adds because there's more people now that are involved?
I mean, it obviously has to take away because you're not going to have everybody there. If you're on CBA, you're going to Nike every year.
For sure, team title. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy was choosing this year. It's something else I want to get into too. Is the way he finished his season?
Yes.
Was just one of the biggest storylines of the season. The CBA team, the Union Catholic girls team, and I'll get into a couple of those other individuals that really, produce some really fantastic moments. But anytime you split things up, it's not going to be great for the sport. I mean, you're just not going to have the best guys. We deal with that indoors with nationals. I mean, you got outdoor. Hey, what nationals are you going to? Oh, I'm going to Boston for New Balance. Oh, I'm going to New York.
Or how about outdoor?
Yeah.
It's almost like you wish one of these meets had an individual component as well as a team, like that they could. But
there are the ones, and whether people want to admit it or not, I'm not going to knock any kid that goes to nationals, right? Regardless of which one it is. But there are nationals that are more weighted. There are traditional nationals that are more weighted, where if you're winning that one, it does mean more. I'm sorry. I hate to say it out there, but it's like New Balance Nationals, outdoor is nationals. That is, if you go to New Balances, that is the traditional one. I don't care if they ran faster at Adidas down south or if they ran faster in Portland and Nike. Good on you guys. New Balance, having that New Balance title is big. That maybe just is the tradition in me, right?
No, I agree with you. And that goes back to Foot Locker too. I mean, Foot Locker's been around forever.
Yep.
You're the Foot Locker national champion compared to being the individual champion, at Nike. I mean,
right. But I do like how Nike has the whole team component.
Yes, it's the one of the best things that ever happened to the sport.
It was smart for them.
Was Nike coming in and bringing a team champion element to it. I mean, that was the biggest missing piece forever. I mean, I go back years when Mark Bloom had the Harrier. You guys, Dave, I don't know. Dave's not there right now.
Dave's
when I broke in, there were national rankings. There were no national championships. Everything was mythical. Everything is based on take your time at Van Cortlandt and your time at Homedale. And
we'll convert it to
Bear Mountain and convert it. And Mark Bloom had one of the toughest jobs in the world.
Bloom was great, though, man.
The top 20, based on just comparing courses around the country when seasons ended back then after state meets.
Right.
And so that was genius move by Nike to come in and say, hey, let's fix this. Let's have a true. How many sports do it? How many sports have a true? Nobody. Right.
Yeah,
it's up to anyone's guess who's the true guy or girl.
But it is cool, how because not every team has a great individual, but you could be a great unit. So now they have Nike for you, whereas you're on an average team, but you're a stud. You're probably gonna go to Foot Locker.
Yeah, and it does bother me, like Alex said before. Outdoors, Nike, New Balance, Adidas. I mean, if you have 3 national championships, I mean, that means you have none.
You have 2 quarterbacks, you have none.
You have none. I mean, are you a national champion because you wanted so the whole pulling in a national championship thing, look, I get it. They're paying money.
Here's my suggestion. Hoka, if you're out there, Hoka on running, once those 3 are done, say on running national meet of champions. Trump all 3 of them, bring the top 2 from each and some wild cards, the top 2 winners from each and a few wild cards, bring 8 to the track only on each of them, no trials, race. Get the
I like it
out there.
Oh, I like it. Let's make it happen. Hey, Hoka, do you hear that?
Hoka on, I don't care. On, Running, and Hoka are the two ones that are stepping up. And let's penalize these other three companies for being so damn selfish.
And a third sponsor, Sidious Mag.
And a fourth sponsor, Talking in Ovals, damn it.
There we go.
I like it, but a couple of things that kind of hit me about cross country that I failed to mention earlier was I touched on Jimmy Wischusen earlier.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys followed the whole. Unfortunately, the season. I mean, we hyped it up before the season started. Wischusen, Joe Barrett. Wischusen had run 15:22 as a junior. Yep. Joe Barrett coming back. It was all hyped up. These two guys and Peyton Shute too. What a season he had from Woodbury.
Yeah, oh God.
But unfortunately, the Wischusen Barrett thing never happened at Homedale. Right. Wischusen had the hamstring issues, forced him to drop out of the non-public A race and to meet a champs.
Yep.
Then the guy comes back, gets second at Nike Northeast, then goes to Nationals, runs 15:25 and gets All-American.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I've done probably thousands of interviews with high school athletes. I never had an interview like I had with Wischusen after the Nike Northeast region. If you never saw it, I know a lot of people did. I got a lot of comments on it. He talked about the struggles. This is a guy who's come back from injuries 3 or 4 times. He's missed parts, almost full seasons of indoor, outdoor cross, different injuries. He'd come back, another injury. He came back, won the indoor media champs, another injury, and he keeps coming back. I mean, he's just like, and he just talked about, he just opened up after that runner-up finish at Northeast Regional to make nationals. And he opened up about just the not just physically, just mentally, how that just wears you down. And he sent a message pretty much out to everybody that day. Hey, you're not alone. If you have struggles, you can get through it. And it was just, man, I walked away from that saying, I can't believe that 18-year-old kid, and his emotions just poured out. And I mean, I had goosebumps. I mean, it hit the heart. And I said, you know what? That's what this is all about, right? I mean, these are high school kids, and no one thinks about the struggles of the injuries. Oh, someone's injured, physical therapy, they'll come back. The time away from what you love to do. And when you're 17, 18 years old, and he put it all in perspective. So to see him come back like that, I mean, that was definitely one of the biggest storylines of the year. 15:25 out in that slop in Portland. He was the 4th highest finisher we've ever had at that meet. And you look at it, Joe Rosa twice and Cheserek, and then Wischusen. Yeah. I mean, so I just wanted to touch on that, and just that was to me definitely one of the biggest stories of the year. And
I'll say this, he gave his dad something to be happy about. Now, if people recognize the name Jimmy Wischusen, Bob Wischusen is his dad, and his dad announces the Jets, and the Jets are freaking terrible. So he gave his dad something to be super happy, not just being proud of his son, tongue in cheek, but obviously there is difficulty. I went through injuries all throughout my career. Now, I didn't have a iota of the talent that Jimmy Wischusen has, but it does wear on you. It is tough to come back, and the mental fortitude of an 18-year-old to continue to do it, and to know, we talk about expectations, the expectation is CBA, Union Catholic. That expectation was on Jimmy to be one of the state's best, if not the best runner from New Jersey, and to be able to put your injuries and even go through injuries again throughout the season, nothing but the best for him in indoor and outdoor, short track and outdoor. And, I could see the emotion. People can't see here, because this is audio, but when Jim was talking about it, the interview obviously touched him, because you could see the little bit of emotion coming out of Jim there, just hearing a kid, 18-year-old, obviously having to deal with the injuries, but being honest about what the injuries do to you, not trying to put on a face, not trying to put on a front, but just letting people know, hey, this is tough. Yeah. It's not easy, and it's okay for it to be tough. To let somebody know you're struggling to get through.
Yeah, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
It happens. And I mean, 3 or 4 different times, and this guy missed so much time. And I mean, take anything you do in life, take it away from something that what you love the most gets taken away from you that many times. I mean, it felt good to see him do that. And a shout out to Jim for the perseverance, and never give up. But like you said, you always have to keep believing in yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to go through tough times in life, and you just got to pick yourself up off the mat and just start throwing punches again. And that's what he did. And it's like I said, it was one of the best moments of the entire season. And like I said, it was the most emotional interview I ever conducted with a high school athlete. Wow. From what they were saying and the way it made me feel too. I mean, it hit hard. And so I mean, that was, like I said, one of the biggest stories of the season. And another thing I have to mention, and I should have mentioned this like right at the top, is it was sad news. I mean, one of the biggest storylines was the unfortunate passing of Nick Baker from Haddonfield. I've known Nick since I broke in this business over 30 years ago, and he was so much more than just a great coach. He was just a great person, and that hurt a lot. Hurt myself. I mean, I consider Nick to be a friend, and when I broke into business, like I said, many years ago, first time I ever called him up, introduced myself. Hey, I'm covering, cross country now for the Star Ledger. Just want to, introduce myself. And he goes, hey, anytime you need anything at all, I pretty much have all the history of South Jersey. I said, oh, that'll be a big help. He goes, I'll tell you what, give me 5 minutes. Call me back. Call him back in 5 minutes. I spent 3 hours with him on the phone. I'd never even met him yet. It was just a phone conversation, just giving me sectional champions, the history, the courses, everything. He was just a great person. The kind of coach that, 5 decades of coaching, one of the best programs in state history. And to see Haddonfield boys win the group title about a month after, Nick had passed away. God, if you weren't happy for that team and that community that day, then you got soul searching to do it, because that to me was one of the greatest moments in New Jersey cross country history right there. To see what those kids, to step up and win another one for Coach Baker. Just an icon, a legendary figure. I've seen other coaches. Tom Heath, a legend. There's a lot of legendary coaches. I can't think of one coach, I know a lot of them, who was more beloved in a community, in a town, okay, where just everybody knew him, everybody loved him, because he was also an administrator in the school. And he was everywhere. He was Haddonfield. Shout out to Haddonfield, because they did things right. They named the track after Baker Track. They named it after Nick and his wife, while he's still alive. This is kind of my way of telling people out there now, if you have someone who's done something big, runner, coach, whatever, don't wait. Honor them right now. Yeah. There's no reason to wait. Everything's in a memorial. Everything's no. Do it now. The Penn Relays did it right too. They honored Nick as honorary referee at the Penn Relays last year. Do things for people that deserve to be recognized while they're still with us. And Nick Baker is one of the greatest people, coaches you'll ever find, bar none. And he used to tell coaches, this is how great of a guy he was. I heard him many times sharing workouts with opposing coaches, like in the same county, rival teams, because he was about how can I help kids get better, kids improve, and whatever it takes. Yeah, he was competitive and wanted to win, but he wanted to see every single kid, no matter what team they were from. And he would share with new coaches. He would sit down and help them out with training and everything. He was just the All-American guy.
It's a different mentality now too. A lot of coaches are much more close to the vest, but it is nice to hear that he was there for the kids. If he saw an athlete with potential, he wanted to bring out that potential, whether it was going to cost him a win or not, which says a lot to his character, right? A lot to the character of the individual. And again, it was a great story, and his legacy lives on, right? Haddonfield is known as one of the best programs in the state, and they always, up years, down years, you never count them out.
Never. So boys and girls.
Boys and girls. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, he built it.
He did. So moving on from that, I want to get your surprises of the XC season. Was there anything on the men's and women's side that you didn't expect that happened?
Well, the first name that jumps out at me is who knew who Clay Stevens was before the season started? Yeah, freshman from Manalapan. Who knew who he was? And the kid runs 15:50 in a Group 4 race. I think he came back, got 8th to meet a champs, and he just ran 9:32 for 2 miles. Who saw that coming? Maybe Clay Stevens saw it coming. Maybe the coaches there and the training, but
Robbie Andrews did.
Robbie saw it coming. Oh yeah, Robbie saw it coming.
Right. Bobby knew, and Bobby knew about Carvelos too, winning Group 4.
Yep.
The Manalapan program in general, I don't know of a lot of people around the state Maybe people in a short conference in Monmouth County could see it coming. But, around the state, I think that they were like, and people, I got it all the time from people, holy cow, Manalapan. I'm like, yeah, they're for real. And
we know if there's a good one out of Manalapan, they're a great one. It's not just Manalapan. Like when they have a good runner, it's like, all right, the state's better watch out because they
100%.
Like they're insane how good they got. It's in the water.
I remember I was interviewing
Manalapan
after he had the big monster finish. If you guys watch the video, that he came from way back.
Yeah,
I mean, he was in back of the chase pack and worked his way up, and then he just crushed the backwoods.
Yep.
But I'm interviewing him after. He got a late start to his season. He had some, I think, shin splint things going on. And I'm interviewing him after the race. And right during the middle of the interview, and you can go back and see it, is Bobby Andrews coming right up and giving him the biggest hug. I knew you could do it. I mean, it was just, you could just see that, the coach, athlete, the work, and boom, it all paid off. And watch out for those two guys. That 1-2 punch at Manalapan with I mean, what kind of DM are they going to put together with those two guys bookending that? Oh, baby.
And I'd hate to be running against them in like miles and 2 miles because they're just going to run right next to each other and it's going to be like, all right, go in lane 2 if you want to pass us. Like, enjoy that one. Like, and that always sucks when you have two good guys running and you're like, it's semi-even with them. And it's like, yeah, they're just going to run out front and just take turns and we're going to hate our lives back here. Like, it sucks.
Yeah, but surprise, you got me thinking surprises. These girls.
I was happy for Layla Gordon making it to Foot Locker.
Yeah, Lily Gordon. Yes, I mean, wins her second straight group title.
Yeah.
And got the Foot Locker Nationals. Like I said, I don't want to put her under the surprise category, but she took it the next step.
Right.
And how about Rosemary Shea from Middletown South? Talk about someone taking the next big step. She got herself to a Nike Nationals, led Middletown South to the state Group 3 title. So I don't know if a lot of people saw. I mean, she was always been a good runner, but she's another runner that put in the miles and got the results and took that next step. As did Luke Pash from Ridgewood. We talked over the summer in the previews about runners that could break out. And looking at his 9.0 whatever he ran on the track last year, like, okay, watch out for this guy, and bang, he qualifies.
And you mentioned Peyton Shoot earlier.
I mean, Peyton Shoot, Peyton Shoot always, everyone knew he had the talent, and Peyton would be the first one to tell you he needed to conquer Homedale. He would roll through all the races through South Jersey his junior year last year, and then he couldn't quite get over the hump and win, the group title and contend for the Meet of Champs. But this year he took care of it. He worked out all summer at Homedale. He kept just repeating the start hill and just, learning how to run that course. I mean, some people have it mastered. I know, Phil McCafferty, Heath before that, Jim Schlent, there's a lot of coaches. And now, there's formulas and people know where you have to be at 1K and when, I get all that. But he had to figure that out for himself, and he did. And bang, group title, 15:33. He gave Joe Barrett all he could handle at Meet of Champs and makes Foot Locker National. So, yeah, Peyton Shoot, big shout out to him. And big things, indoor track season. If all these guys are healthy, my gosh, I know we're going to get into it a little bit with maybe some bold predictions, but I see a lot of guys breaking 9. In the right race, if someone takes it out, these guys can all the guys we mentioned already are all those guys that can break 9.
So let's jump into indoor or short track, as Seb Co would like us to call it. Sorry, Seb, we're going to say indoor a lot, but indoor track season is generally. I've learned to enjoy indoor track as much as it's kind of a hellscape as a runner trying to breathe ever. But I've learned to enjoy it because in college, indoor track was our longest season here at Marist. So, you learn to love it. Boston's amazing. If anyone ever gets to travel to BU, I haven't been to the new track, the New Balance track in Boston, but it looks incredible. I would love to go up there. It looks beautiful. Jim, have you been up to that track at all? The new Balance one in Boston?
I have not, but I want to change that this year. I mean, this year they're, if I remember right, what they're doing this year, the 3-day meet is first 2 days at the Reggie Lewis Center. I forget what the reason was, and then the last day is at the New Balance track. So I mean it's
I look forward to Terry.
We can have a whole segment on just the evolution of indoor tracks, especially in the Northeast. I mean, where it was when Dave ran, and where it is now.
Yeah,
I was running at Red Bank, as I've said many
times. Oh my God!
I was over at Red Bank.
I went to Red Bank High for a meet. I could not believe. I'm like, where's that? I asked 3 people where the track was. They said, you're standing on it.
Yeah.
Red Bank, and
It was
I
like a
remember
glorified
running.
wresling mat. It was like just
And I'm like, Dave, did you
160
ever run?
meters. It was 10 laps at a mile. It was brutal.
Did you ever run at the Atlantic Club in Lakewood? Did you cover anything there, Jim? Where the Atlantic Club was a tennis
Atlantic
court
Club,
that they
no,
set
but
up. Tennis courts, they set up tape and they put a hose in the middle of it to demarcate, and they only, I think they only held frost soft meets there. But yeah, I raced at the Atlantic Club and I looked down and it was like, I think I was a sophomore and it was a few of us. I looked, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like you had to wear trainers. Like you couldn't even wear your waffle racers because they had no grip. You needed something. It was the worst.
Were you running?
I picked
Were
Red
you running
Bank
on a gym?
over that.
Were you running? Because I can tell you about
It was
the
a tennis
Dunn
court.
Center.
It was
Old
tennis
time
court.
runners in Union County know about the Dunn Center.
We got into a debate with Tefelsky about what was worse, Dunn Center or
what was
Red
worse?
Bank.
Well, the
Dunn Center or Red Bank.
I forget how many laps the Dunn Center was for a mile.
I think he said it was over 10. I think
it might have been 12 laps, and it was basically just painted lines around the basketball court. That was it.
Red Bank was a glorified rounded rectangle. You had to everyone knew to get out into lane 2 and 3 to make the turn. Like you just all did it. It was watching a NASCAR race. You had to get high to get low to come into those turns, and you kind of just did it as a group. It was awful.
I saw people at the Dunn Center like hit the wall.
Oh,
I mean, if you on a short relay, like the short relays, with baton handoffs. I mean, it was just like roller derby. People are crashing, they're falling off the track, they're hitting the wall. One guy landed into like the soda machine, like the concession area.
Well, it's like when I was in high school, my old coach, Marco Leary, he didn't like running locally. So like we would always look for tracks that were like where you could wear spikes, which was not easy then. So like we would run at Seton Hall.
Yeah.
We'd run at West Point. We ran at Lehigh. So like we would travel because Seton Hall had a great meet called Fast 10 Relays. It was like 4x2, 4x4, 4x8. Get out! It was awesome.
Yep. I used to go to that meet. I used to go to that meet all the time.
Love that meet.
They'd had the Milrose qualifier there, and they had the Seton Hall games that were always like the 2 days right after Christmas. I remember runners used to come from all over.
That was a fast track back then.
Yes, it was. People would come to see. Remember Seneca Lassiter, Arkansas, back in the day?
Yeah,
we ran there. We were at that race because Chris Greer was in that race.
That's right.
Seneca Lassiter.
Yep. I mean, anyone, all the stars from the Northeast would come to Seton Hall. Seton Hall was like the place to go to run fast. Like you said, it's like people look at the Armory now. Oh, got to go to the Armory and run.
And it was so sad that when the Cox brothers went there, they closed their program down. There was Charles Cox and Chris Cox.
Yep.
When they committed to Seton Hall, I think they had
Tom's River South legend also Charles Hester.
Yeah, sure.
That's right.
And I think they had Charles Hester as well. But I think they maybe had a season or two there. Both guys ran ridiculous, and then they shut the program down. Now, does he come back yet? They come back as a program, or are they still gone?
Program. I mean, you look at what John Moon did at Seton Hall. You're going to shut that program down. That was awful.
It was a travesty.
One of the worst decisions ever.
Their sprinting tradition there was, I remember they had such a good sprinting tradition. Now, they had a good team, don't get me wrong, but the Cox boys went there because of their 400-meter tradition. They knew they could go and be 45-second guys there, or they could be 44-second guys there. That wasn't an unheard of thing coming out of Seton Hall. So, it was awful. They should.
I'm old enough to remember when Kevin Lyles, Noah Lyles' father, he ran at Seton Hall. I mean, he met his wife there, Florticia Harris. They won a Championship of America race at the Penn in a 4x4 just a few years before they shut down. I mean, there's some big-time studs that ran at Seton Hall. I mean,
Ryan Spooner.
Yeah, Spoonie. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When Vince Cartier was coaching him when he was at Seton Hall.
So let's push to get Seton Hall back as a program. That's going to be a push for this show, is to force Seton Hall administration to bring that program back. It's too damn good, and we'll have Dave go coach it. Listen, we're talking to enough high school kids. Like, we can get recruits. Dave can start recruiting. I don't know if it's illegal to do it via podcast.
We will put you on the podcast if you go to.
I think you guys can do anything you want.
I mean, maybe as not a coach, but yeah, sure, we could do whatever the hell we want here. But so I want to jump into
before that
2024 indoor. Give us some storylines that you're looking forward to for the indoor season, because now this opens it up. We got sprinters included. We got weights guys and girls, throwers, jumpers. So what are some of the fun storylines that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, well, I mean, the season's a couple weeks old already, and some things have already jumped out. I mean, sparks are flying down in Washington Township.
They are.
If you guys have seen what they've done down there, I mean, they just ran, was it 128 and change in the 4x2, which is, U.S. #1 already. They have a sprinter, a Johnny Dwyer. Now, a lot of people don't know about him because he didn't run indoor track before. First indoor race of his life, he goes 6:33 in the 55. I mean, it's right away. He's number 7 all time in Jersey. He's U.S. #1 in his first race ever.
And it's funny because I saw something over on the website formerly known as Twitter, X, but it was on our page. We follow a lot of people in track and field, and people were like, "Oh, don't be posting up your times from January or December." And it's like, I'm sorry. Those times are legitimate. Those are good at end of the season. The times that we're seeing now down in South Washington is good at end of the year now. Like we're seeing 100%. End of the year times run. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's way different than someone just running a 420 mile and no one else has run it yet, and you're leading the country for a couple of weeks. Yeah. This is legit. 6:33. And Josiah Brown, his teammate, is run 7:13 in the hurdles.
Right.
I mean,
insane.
I mean, 7:13 he's already NJ #3 all time already. This guy, he's been under 7:20 twice. I mean, state record alert, big time. I mean, its state record is 7:07. Like Corey Poole, he's at 7:13 right now. Wow. I mean, that's just a matter of a little quicker reaction time or just a lean, and he's gonna. I mean, that state record, it's going. It's going. You want some bold hot takes?
There we go.
Josiah Brown is taking down Corey Poole's state record of 7:07.
I like it.
It's just a matter of time.
Keep it rolling, Jim. What else are we looking for?
What else are we looking for? Big boy. I'll start with the boys. I mean,
3,200. What do you think? I mean, you have Jimmy healthy. You got Barrett healthy.
Wait, hold on. I should have really started out with Jaden Marchand from Leonia. What he just did.
Oh yeah.
He just took down the state record in a 600. I mean, what was it, 117.66?
Ridiculous.
He had run a day before a 600. He had run a 600 a day before at Ocean Breeze and dropped 3 seconds the next day.
Who needs rest?
And he took down Quincy Wilson.
Yeah,
the national champ, indoor champ last year in a 400. The guy, the greatest freshman 400 runner ever, indoor national record holder, and as a freshman last year. He took him down, out-leaned him at the line. I mean, 117.66. I mean,
cruising.
What's he going to run at 400? I mean, he ran 47 and change last year when he got second to meet of champs outdoors. So, but if you're running 117, to put that in perspective, Clayton Parros, who has the state outdoor record, 45.81. Parros ran 118 and change the indoor season prior to when he ran 45 point. So I know you can't just say, hey, if that guy did this, that's going to convert 600, 400. You know, it's a different ball game, but
the strength does translate, though. The strength of running, because if you're running a 16 there, now it could go one of two ways, right? It almost depends on how you do it, but he's on the sprint side. We know he's a fast twitch guy. If it's an 800 guy dropping down to do something like that, then okay, maybe that was more strategically run. This is a sprinter that did it. So you know that it's a fast twitch motion he's doing. So to see him have that strength over 600 meters and now be able to say, okay, we're taking 200 off, enjoy. Like it's going to be interesting. I'm very curious what he does in indoor, because the 117 there, like you said, was he going to, I mean, coming out the gates right now, it's early, but he has to be to meet a champ's favorite, just looking from that perspective.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be shocking if he didn't run 46 points somewhere.
And being competitive nationally with that, like that time is going to make him very competitive nationally.
Oh yeah. Everyone knows who he is now.
Oh yeah.
A couple weeks ago, not so much, but now he's on a national radar. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's a lot of great performances already. And in that race with Dwyer from Washington, when he went 6:33, Malachi James, a lot of people may have just forgotten about him.
Yeah.
From Burlington City. As a sophomore, he won 100 and 200 at the meet of champs. He was out. He came back and played football, but hamstring injury knocked him out completely outdoors last year. He came back in football. He was 6:36 in that race. So what are these two guys going to do? Push each other? I mean, they're already top 10 all time in state history. coming out the blocks. Dwyer's first race ever at that distance, and James's first race at any distance in 10 months. So, I mean, like I said, sparks are flying, on the track already, and it's just setting up to be an incredible season for the boys in the sprints and hurdles. We didn't even get into the distances.
Has Kremer from
earlier
Southern run yet? Is he back healthy?
Who didn't run?
The kid from Southern last year who got hurt in the sprints. Kremer, was it?
Oh, I haven't seen him.
I haven't either.
That's a great question. I haven't seen his name yet. I'll have to follow that up. But
last year he had some great times.
No, he did. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, but yeah, I mean, this New Jersey can hold its own with just about any state in the country.
Absolutely.
I mean,
We have said that over and over again. New Jersey, it might not be the best every year, but you're putting in the top 5 states every year, in terms of overall talent, because New Jersey talent travels. You go to all these other big schools, you will find a kid from Jersey running fast nationally. A few kids, men and women, in the national scene from Jersey every year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're always there.
Yep. And we touched on this briefly before, but how many guys can break 9 minutes? I mean, the potential, Washuzin, Barrett, Luke Pash we talked about before, Kai Velos, Stevens, who else was at the top? I'm trying to think of who else was like Avery Keith.
Shoot, probably, right?
Shoot, Avery Keith. Who am I missing?
We're going to see the equivalent of almost when last year when so many people broke 4 over at the Terrier. Was it Terrier Valentine? Was one of them where a bunch of college kids just like destroyed 4 minutes. We're going to see that in Jersey. I feel like we're going to see it'll be a weekend. We'll get a weekend. We'll just be like a slew of Jersey kids just shattering 9.
Oh, yeah. If they got to get in the right race. And I mean, a lot of indoors.
Gotta be healthy,
Yeah, a lot of indoors is keeping guys healthy and preparing for outdoors, preparing for nationals. And a lot of these guys are on relay teams. Like, I mean, what's CBA going to do in a DMR? My gosh, we talked about what Manalapan can do,
or even Westfield.
Westfield, yep. And you see with Washuzin on the end. I mean, we're going to see some red hot DMRs. That's for sure. I mean, it's going to be banging.
It'll be interesting to see the strategy, right? It's going to be interesting to see who they're going to put at the 12, because that's a gamesmanship, right? Are you going to put one of your top guys up there? How fast are they going to be? Because, we know what we're going to see out of some of the anchors, right? We're going to see Washuzin back there. We're going to see Barrett back there. But how about you lining it up? Because a lot of your 1,200 guys almost translate as your faster 800 guys too. So where are we going to go there? I'm curious to see the gamesmanship from the coaches there.
Yeah, I mean, CBA's got a lot of options there. I mean,
they do.
they got Connor Clifford could lead off. He could run the 8. They got the Falkowski brothers. I mean, it remains to be seen who their 8-4 guy is going to be, but they have a lot of guys that
they always have guys 400.
They'll find a guy. I mean, Torsia will find a guy who can hit 50 or maybe even sub 50.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's very interesting to see how these teams break things up because Westfield. I mean, Tafelski's got decisions to make. Make with his lineup too, and that's what indoor season has really become now with the fast tracks. Is everyone looks to get their DMR 4x8 qualifiers.
Yep. Let's get into Penn during the winter season.
Qualifying indoor.
Yeah, the days of chasing Penn times the first couple of weeks of April, they're gone. Those days are so far over.
Which kind of sucks because that was the fun part about April.
It was
going to a bunch of relays and outdoor, like the Rebel relays were big in the beginning.
But the Blue Devil Classic.
Blue Devil Classic was the last chance.
Yeah,
I loved having that last chance.
I actually qualified there in high school.
Did you?
Well, my team qualified 4x8. We went up against Westfield at Blue Devil, and we ran 8:04 and got in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, Martin would all the teams would go there. It was fantastic. But you don't get those matchups anymore in April like that. The Kearney Relays used to be big for that.
Which sucks too, because if you're a team on the borderline, you want that competition, right? You want that competition to help drive you in. And some other teams are using them as warm-ups to just go and get some fast times. So you'd get these fast teams that go there, but now they got them and they're going to go in different directions, start focusing a little more individual when they get to the beginning. So it's weird. We sound like old Hokies. A lot has changed. A lot has changed, Dave.
I know.
So anything else on the guys' side we should look forward to, or are we going to jump over to the ladies?
Well, I mean, the field events, Josh Heisman from St. Rose. I mean, here's a guy who won Meter Champs indoors, outdoors last year in the shot. He's thrown over 64 feet. He's already
over 60.
He threw 63 over the weekend. He's a guy who can be looking at 65, big numbers, a guy who can hit the podium and at nationals. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. He's really kind of in a league of his own in a shot put now. And trying to think what else in the field. What's his name? I'm sorry, the vaulter from West Marsh just made 15 feet. Cade Ziola. So there's a guy to keep an eye on, a kind of a new name out there. A big star, on the rise. But yeah, that's pretty much high jump. There's a few guys at 6'6". Russell from Weehawken just made 6'6".
Nice.
There's a couple 6'6" guys. Let's see if we have a 6'8", 6'10" guy this year. See if somebody emerges.
They might push each other. These guys are going to see each other. And that's the thing, too. I think that's very different now, where before you kind of made your schedule, right? And you went to the meets you can go to. Now you're kind of looking and picking your spots as a coach with these talented athletes, and you're trying to figure out and think, where are because everyone knows what everyone's doing now. So you want to find out where these guys are going to be. So I wouldn't be surprised if those guys jumping 6'6" now are trying to figure out, I've already tried to map it out to be at like good jumping events, right? Together, and they're going to see each other. And I think that's also a reason why we get so many fast times now, because it's not just you go to your slate of meets. Every school goes to the meets that they go to every year, maybe one curveball. Like, no, you pick your meets based off of where you think the competition's going to go, so you can get your athletes the best competition possible.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, right now it's about seeding, trying to get the seedings for states and things. And I mean, not to just keep going back to this, but the differences between indoors now and 10, 15 years ago. I mean, there are meets almost every single day between Ocean Breeze, the Armory. Drew still has a lot of meets there. I mean, you can go. Bennett Center, South Jersey Track Coach Association has their series of meets. There's throwing meets. I mean, there are more indoor meets than there are outdoor meets now.
Oh, yeah. Indoor is booming.
It is every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you have to, and someone asked me about the reason why. And I said, well, you have the timing equipment set up. I mean, these are track and field facilities only, most of them.
Yep.
They're set up, the timing, everything's there. I mean, outdoors, I think it would be great to get a venue that was just track only they can go to every day. I mean, we have all those great twilight meets now that Cherokee does, Haddonfield does, Holmdel does.
But we need more icon stadiums. We need more of those. Like, Icon is so hard to get to. It's a gorgeous stadium. It's fun, but it is difficult to get to. It's a pain in the ass to get in and out of. We need those in other places. We need
Meet a Champ should be at Rutgers.
Meet a Champ should absolutely be at Rutgers. And and
well, that's a whole nother. There's a whole nother segment too we can get into. Is look, I know we go to Ocean Breeze now for Meet a Champs. And that's a good thing, but we can do better. Where are all the state football championships held? MetLife and Rutgers. Where are the state basketball championships? Rutgers. Meet a Champs at Ocean Breeze is great, but we need more. There's still the Bennett Center. I'm not taking a shot at them.
Of course not.
The Bennett Center was great. When they came around in 2007, we needed the Bennett Center more than anything.
Absolutely.
In New Jersey. I mean, Princeton had priced out the state, couldn't go there anymore. He had nowhere to go. The Bennett Center was a savior for New Jersey indoor track. But now we need more meets. All the group meets are there. The relay
Jim, my big joke is the worst thing that ever happened was Ritako going to jail, because he would have put a bank track there. He had plans on banking it, and I think he wanted to expand it. That bubble was temporary. He wanted to build a legitimate facility there, and part of me is like, listen, let him do his fraud for like another 10 years. Let us get our facility and then put him in jail. Like,
can we get him out? Can we get him out on parole for a little bit?
Listen, he gave a beautiful friggin' basketball arena in Toms River North. He gave us the bubble. Like, yes, the guy is a sleazebag with what he did with fraud, but to say he didn't give back to that community and the people in Toms River would be a lie. He gave back a lot to the kids.
I had somebody who was one of the guys who worked at the Bennett Center when they first opened, told me what the plans were.
Oh, yeah.
It was going to be a big wellness center. They were going to connect the track to a swimming pool, bathrooms and concessions. Because look at the space there. You could, obviously, the first thing you say is, well, this is it. Look at all this room they have here. He had big plans to make that like the mega center for several different sports. Like you said, he wanted Toms River to be everything. I mean, he got wrestling down there, basketball down there. He wanted, he had huge designs, and
It's my hometown. I know.
Yeah, and I know, and what I remember is being in high school when it came out. The whole entire thing was this is temporary. They want to build the bank on it. They want to make it state of the art. They want to take the bubble down, make it a brick and mortar facility, make it a legitimate track space, which, hey, I'm sorry, Tom's River, y'all have money out there. Where is another rich dude that has this vision? And even listen, I'm going back to Manchester. There's money in Ocean County. There is money in Monmouth County.
Money in the state.
There's money in New Jersey. It's one of the wealthiest states around if you go to frickin' Bergen County. Where is somebody with a deep pocket that ran track, that got a lot from it?
That's it. You got to find somebody who ran track, who's got kids who run track.
Where's that? And it pays. Do you know how much that bubble has paid for itself?
Oh my gosh,
1 trillion times.
Yeah.
You'll make money hands over fist. Listen, I'm pumped because we just got the announcement over the past year that Marist, my alma mater, is getting an outdoor facility, and hopefully down the road getting an indoor facility, which would be a game changer in New York. Because right now they run their section meets, they run all their state meets at the freaking Armory at Ocean Breeze, and it's over here in the Hudson Valley. If Marist was smart enough to build an indoor track, which I hope is in the cards in the future, the money it would make just from state meets alone, not even having its own invite, would pay for itself in a heartbeat. And that's what people don't realize. A
smart businessman with a lot of money who's got kids, in track. It takes someone like that or a couple guys like that. Like you said, we need an icon stadium. We need a New Jersey track and field stadium.
There's enough swamp that someone could convince somebody to build on. Okay.
I don't know what happened at Central Regional, but that was a beautiful thing, and they only had the meet champs there 1 year because of parking and the superintendent. It was just this whole
I remember that mess,
crazy fiasco. But
I remember
that was a gorgeous facility, though.
I remember talking to the superintendent about it, about when it wasn't going back there. I mean, he was hot.
Oh yeah,
he was hot about that. I mean, he's
out there now, but
it had something. I forget the whole story. It had something to do with the concessions and what they were getting and the gate and things like that, and it just blew up. But that was a great spot.
Yeah, Central is really nice.
Centrally located, it's right off the Parkway. It's like right off the Parkway.
Hey, we're going south this year. I mean, we're getting into outdoor track a little bit. We're going down to Pennsauken this year.
I know. So, all right, Jim.
All right, indoors.
Back on track to the winner. Girls.
Let's get for the ladies.
Girls.
Yes.
Let's go.
Let's see what are some of the big things that happened so far? I mean, obviously one of the big names coming back is Siani Wynn, a sprinter from Pennsauken.
Yep.
Freshman phenom last year. She burst on the scene and won 2 sprint titles, indoor meet champs, 2 sprint titles, outdoor meet champs. She's already gone at 7:04 and 55, 51, I think, this year. So, she's on top coming back in the sprints. She's looking to go sub 7, and who knows how fast she can go in a 2 and a 4. And you have Taylor Cox from Union Catholic has been the top hurdler.
Oh yeah,
in the state the last couple of years, defending meet champ winner in a hurdle. She's gone 7:82. She's U.S. number 1 already. 782. I think that puts her number 5 all time in state history. I mean, let's see how close she can get. There's something to keep an eye on. I mean, the state record is 760 by the one and only Sydney McLaughlin.
Yep.
She did that as a sophomore, I believe, in 2015 when she won national. Let's see if Cox can make a run and maybe get close to that. I mean, I know she's
782 is an adjustment on a step, on a step and a little more rhythm. Mm-hmm. And that could drop down to be a really competitive and interesting, maybe finishing second, maybe touching Sid's record.
Yeah. I mean, that's something to keep an eye on, her making a run at that. I mean, the distance races, I mean, we talked about Emma Zawatsky earlier.
Yeah.
She basically wasted no time. She kind of capitalized on her fitness level after the cross country season ended and jumped right into a race in Boston. And, what you run 9:36, I think it was
3K,
for 3K,
yep.
which puts her at like 10:18, 10:20, so 10:20 for 32. So I mean, we know she's going to be there. Now it depends on, she might go 1600 meet champs.
Right.
I mean, she's defending meet champ winner to 16. I mean, Paige Shepard. I mean, you're going to see all those cross country studs going at it. I mean,
be interesting to see how Paige takes the development in indoor, because indoor, I have no doubt that she's going to be a monster. But indoor is a different beast, and I could see her taking not necessarily an adjustment period, but just maybe a race or two to figure out. Because if anyone hasn't told you yet, Paige, don't try and breathe. Just race. Because in indoor, the biggest thing to me that I tell anyone that's never actually ran indoor, especially a distance runner, if you get caught up in the fact that you can't breathe, it's going to drive you nuts. Just race. Don't worry about it. Just compete, because you're good. Everyone gets that burning sensation. It happens.
That's right. I mean, like we've said before in the past, I mean, he has quite a resume and a lot of experience, probably more experience than we've seen from any other freshman coming into high school. I mean,
yeah.
And she ran 4:48 and 10:40 and 2:08. So we know the talent's there. So it should make for some great matchups. Lilia Gordon in the 3,200.
Yeah.
You got Julia Scrodato, who knocked off Zawatsky outdoors to win Meet of Champs in the mile. So there's it's going to be loaded. I mean,
so Jim, can you remember the state having this much depth at almost every single race? Now, we've had some really deep years, right? But it seems like right now the depth on the men's and women's side in almost every single event is pretty crazy. And it used to be at times like you could pick and choose as an athlete, right? Okay, the 3,200 is a little later. I'm going to go 16. Yeah. There's no safe place to go now, I think, for anybody, because you're picking and choosing. It's like out of the fire into the frying pan or whatever it is, out of the frying pan into the fire. It's like, I can't remember. I remember there being some really good athletes or a good pack of athletes, but the depth right now and the youth really pushing these upperclassmen, I don't know if I remember too many years where we've seen something like this.
No, you hit it on the head. I mean, there's a lot of heat. There's a lot of smoke on the track, as they like to say.
Yeah.
And no, it gets faster at the top. The depth, the number of athletes who can run, girls under 5 or guys under 420. The bar just keeps getting higher and higher and higher, faster and faster. And like you said before, you can't pick another event. Oh, I can win that. What I'm finding that's happening more now is athletes are saying, oh, where the best guy is going, because I want to get in that race. I want to get on that pain train, and I want to drop a big PR. And I'm going to do that by latching on with Barrett and with Schusen and Luke Ash. And so that's what's happening more now is guys aren't, and girls too, they're not dodging each other. They want to get in those fast races. I mean, that's what the sport's all about, right? You're not going to win every race you run, but if you can keep getting faster, that's the name of the game.
Looks good for college too.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, and you get your qualifiers, but at the top, to answer your question, there has not been this kind of depth where a girl's going to go run 2:12 and finish third in the 800. Or I mean, it could happen. It could definitely. I mean, Sophia Day just ran 2:13. Paige Shepard's run under 2:10. Hayden Hollis has run under 2:10. She's defending champ. I mean,
and Sophia's one of
Angelina George has run 2:11.
That's right. I'll say this. That's right. And Clemmy Lilly. I don't want to forget Clemmy Lilly from Rumson. I mean, who I think could win the Meet of Champs in the 800 after she only lost outdoors by a step.
And I'll just say quickly, I feel like Sophia's on a comeback trail because she had a disappointing Meet of Champions last year. And in outdoor. So I feel like she's kind of on a rampage trail where she wants to really stamp herself back as, one of the competitors to win it all.
Yeah. No, she opened up, like I said, that 2:13. I mean, she's got that nice combination of speed and endurance, much like Hollis. I mean, there's not a whole lot that have that kind of range, but she's one of them. It's pretty remarkable what she can do. And yeah, I mean, people, you go back 10 years and look at the winning times in Meet of Champions, and you might not get a medal with those times now. It's whole state is just.
You go back to when Dave and I were running. You're running a 4:20 at Meet of Champs. There's a chance you might win.
My teammate won Meet of Champs indoor in 1994 in 4:28. Chris Greer.
And honestly, maybe not.
He beat Darnell McLean from Asbury Park.
We had Craig Forey.
I was there. I was at Jadwin for that.
Yeah, I was there as well.
I will say I had Craig Forey. So maybe with Craig my senior year, you weren't doing that because I think Craig won Meet of Champs in I think he's ran sub 4:10 in Meet of Champs for my senior year because Craig was a monster.
He did. He did that double where I think he went under 4:10 and he came back in the 2 mile.
And went under 9:10, I believe.
Went under 9 with a great race. I think it was Ben Massam from Chatham.
Ben Massam, and then the year before we had Muhammad Kadrouri, who went sub 9, and he was insane,
and he was
good. One of the best races I ever saw was
good.
One of the best races I've ever seen was Muhammad Kadrouri and Chris Pannone.
Yep.
Group 4 race at Jadwin,
London
at
Central.
3,200. They kept trading surges back and forth, I think it was 9:01 and change to 9:02 and change.
And
But
that's
it's the
fast
way,
there.
yeah, oh yeah. But it's the way they raced it. And also, you guys probably saw the great race when Forrest really put himself on the national radar as a freshman when he raced Jeremy Zagorski from Parsippany Hills.
Yep.
And he didn't win, but nobody really afterwards, I remember all the reporters and everything. Nobody was going over to Zagorski, who won the race.
They were
Everyone
going
was
over to Craig.
Forrest because Forrest just broke the national freshman record. Then I forget what the time. I want to say he ran I want to say it was 9:20, maybe 9:15. Maybe it was like 9:15.
It was like a 9:16. It was something like that. It was
somewhere like that. I mean, obviously that record's dropped a lot since then, but it was like, I was like, who is this kid who had what's the size of what's?
Our junior year, when his whole main goal was to take down Tommy Frisha of Red Bank in the 800, because that was the one kid he couldn't beat in the 800, and then he ended up beating him. And Craig was a different breed too.
Craig was different.
Makes you think, what would Craig have ran right now with this group, with the super shoes, and the way he was? Because I mean, we've had some dominant athletes, right? And you can kind of put them up against each other, but just from when I was there, like, Craig definitely seems like this modern athlete in a different time. When he was there, like he competed a lot like these guys do now in this generation.
Yep. I mean, this is going back to 2007. He ran 8:44 in that epic battle with Centrowitz outdoors.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that was a state record till Rosa took it.
Yep.
But yeah. Who knows? I mean, I look at guys like that. They're going to be great in any era. And the faster runners around them, the faster they're going to run as well.
He had a very good Michigan career too as a steeplechaser. So
that's right. I mean, what did he get? Second in nationals to Cabral that one.
Second nationals to Cabral, and was 2 spots away twice, I think, at Olympic trials. Like he was pretty close. It was tough. Jaeger was there and Cabral.
Oh yeah, it was tough.
It was a tough group, and he was just barely off.
No,
and,
he was
incredible.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, I put him up at the very, very top of like the greatest I've ever seen. I mean, gosh, the guy, like I said, he just ran with this,
and a nice guy too.
Nice
guy to boot.
Yeah, but I mean, just a blue collar guy, just everything he had. He just poured everything he had out to every race he ran.
Yeah.
I don't always know if he was the most naturally gifted, but he just had an engine that just wouldn't quit. And a combination of Schlentz coaching him, and I said before, naturally gifted. Of course, he was gifted, but I think he just found a way to will himself to do things that a lot of guys just couldn't do. That had kind of similar ability.
Yeah, definitely. So now, of course, we love getting off on our tangents.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got off.
I just want to jump in.
Reel me back in when I go off.
Girls now, like.
Oh yeah, we're talking girls.
There was another few
events.
Another few. I mean, we talked the 8-4 distance. I mean, kind of look at in the field events there. I mean, Sophia Curtis from Ocean City. She was top triple jumper last year at Penn. She went to indoor nationals last year and was All-American. She's number 2 all time on the Jersey list indoors in a triple jump, behind the greatest of all time, Couture Orgy. So
I know that name.
Let's see how close. I think Couture's state record is 43 and change. Oh. Sophia got to 41 something. So
wow.
Hey, let's see if she can close that gap. I mean,
it's a good distance, but talented athlete can do it. Takes one good meet.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, you set your goals high and see where you go. But Sophia Curtis is someone that everyone should keep an eye on. I know indoors, like the field events, the shot puts off to the side, and people aren't paying as much attention to it. But people should do themselves a favor.
In the gym.
Yeah. Well, until they meet a champs, then they bring them into the corner there in the bubble.
Yeah, I know.
But I know Ocean Breeze. You're jumping, and there's the running events are going on, and a lot of times it gets kind of lost in the shuffle. But Curtis is definitely someone to keep an eye on there. In the circle, unfortunately, the best thrower in the state. This a little bit of an update here that I just got today from the Livingston coach. Jessica Oji, who threw over 46 feet last year, was the top American at Penn in the shot, and an All-American. She tore her ACL. This is going back. She tore her ACL near the end of the outdoor track season playing soccer. She was a starting goalie. The main shot putters are starting goalie on soccer. And but she tore her ACL playing soccer, and I knew we were going to be talking tonight, so I wanted to get an update. And she's doing physical therapy. She's hoping to get back by the end of this indoor season. They're not sure yet, but obviously, hey, Jess, if you're out there listening, obviously pulling for you to make a nice big comeback in a circle there. And I mean, like I said, she's 46-footer, and without her right there, another Essex County thrower.
Advice to Jess, and you've heard this from everyone: don't rush.
Yeah.
Get healthy. Take it from someone who battled injuries, rushed back all the time, and had an awful college career. Don't rush. Don't worry about missing that meet. Don't worry about it. There's other meets.
Yeah.
You will be okay. Do not rush.
Yeah. No, I get the feeling that they're taking their time. They're not going to bring her back until she's 100%.
Absolutely.
She got too much of a bright future, but until she comes back, I mean, Madison Stevens from Columbia, I mean, Essex County is the home for a girl shot put right now. She's been over 42 feet. She's the state leader. She won Meet of Champs. She's really the one to keep an eye on right now. She recently committed to Rutgers. You'd be happy to know that, Dave. And
I will.
I'm cheering for Rutgers too. State. I can't not cheer for them. State. The university. Home. Oh yeah.
Big win over at Miami in the bowl game.
That's right.
Now that
and a big recruit today. Big recruit quarterback from Minnesota got transferred.
Yeah, you got the transfer portals working. I mean, that's what they needed, right?
I mean,
how about basketball?
We can have
the number 2 recruiting class in the country.
Rutgers football.
I know, but they have the number 2 recruiting class in the country for
Ace Bailey
basketball.
And
basketball. Yeah,
Harper. Ace Bailey coming over and Harper.
Harper, yeah.
Yeah. No, big things are happening on the banks.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So Jim, all right, what are your 5 bold predictions for this upcoming season?
5, Jesus, you're limiting it.
Oh my gosh!
All right, 10.
All right.
I don't care.
No, give us a few.
I mean, we touched on some of them before. I think that Yeshaya Brown from Washington's going to take down that state record in the hurdles. Like I said before, he's 7:13. He's just got to get to 7:07. That's a blink of an eye right there. I mean, that jumps out at me. I think Union Catholic girls in the 4x8. The national record, they were second last year indoor nationals. They came back and won outdoors. You're adding Shepherd to that 4x8 with Hollis, and remains to be seen how that's filled out. Could be Kaiser. They have a lot of half milers there. But the national record's 8:08.02. Cuthbertson ran that last year when they beat Union Catholic, who went number 2 all time, 8:48.86.
So it's 9:08, right?
What's that?
What's the
8:48.
8:48.
02.
Okay.
8:48.02 is the magic number.
Jesus.
So
it's running.
do I want to predict they're going to break it? I don't know if they're going to break it. It wouldn't surprise me if they break it. I know it's on the radar. They're all healthy. They could take a shot at that. I mean, that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
So bold prediction, they break it?
Yeah, give it to them. Take it.
Yeah, buddy.
Why not? I don't remember what I'm wrong, but I'll make
Here's
sure
a bold prediction. Right. On the men's side, who's your 3,200 meter champion?
Everyone's healthy. Everyone's
healthy, and everyone that we predict would run in it is in it.
Yeah,
you put him in.
I had a feeling he'd put me on a hot seat on this one, and
absolutely. 3,200 is the hot number, I think, this year. I don't think it's more than the 16.
It is. I mean, I picked Washousen to win Meet of Champs in cross country before the season started. Mm-hmm. Now it didn't work out with injuries there. We never got to see the showdown.
Yep.
I think he's the guy to beat. Last year he missed a lot of time and came back and won the 3,200 at the Meet of Champs with a huge last 600. And he just sat and boom, he just went to the whip. I just think that he's got a little more speed than the rest of the 2 milers. And when it comes down to that big move, he's gonna be the guy that makes it. And
are we expecting a tactical race? Are we expecting a big sub 9 floating right around 9 tactical? What are we thinking?
Who knows? Is some guy going to go out in 4:25, 4:30 and set things up for a crazy 8:50 kind of race?
Yes.
And here's the thing. And if you are one of those guys that's in that race and you're not named Barrett, Washousen, or like some of those guys, go run a 4:25. That's your only chance. You have to.
I said before how a lot of guys are going to go under 9.
Yeah.
And that's got to be the place to do it right there. 850s. I mean, these guys, These guys can drop big negative splits.
Crazy. We're talking about a bunch of guys breaking 850 in a meet of champs. Like,
I don't know about I don't know about
I'm not breaking 9. I mean, breaking 9. Like, usually it was like maybe a guy or two is going to break 9 at the top. Now we're talking about basically the whole heat. There's a good handful in the heat that can break 9. A handful in the heat that could. Like, it's crazy to think. It was not out of the realm.
Yeah, well, you know what I think about is I'm one of those guys that looks at Comdale times and what guys over years have done who've run 15:30, 40, even faster, and what they wind up running on the track in a 2 mile. And guys that run in the 15:20s at Homedale, they break 9. Yeah. You go down the list, they're all
makes sense.
I mean, it does. And Barrett went 15:21 this year. Wischusen's got a 15:22 on his resume. It's Peyton shoots at 15:33. These guys are all sub-9 guys. I mean, they are as talented as Liam Murphy was a few years ago in high school. Jack Jennings, they had that epic finish. Devin Hart and Murphy, remember that race in a bubble of all places.
Yeah,
that those guys went under 9.
Great, that's fast. That is fast.
Yes,
yes. The bubble, my God.
So yeah, I mean, bold prediction is maybe we get everyone who gets a medal. I don't know if they're all going under. What you want a bold prediction? How many guys can go? Barrett, Wischusen.
Throughout the season, maybe not in one race. Give us a number of guys throughout the season. Give me a number. How many New Jersey guys break 9 minutes in 3,200 this year? And you got to remember that's factoring in going up to Boston, running at the Armory, running at Ocean Breeze, a lot of places to run fast.
I'm going 4.
I like that. That's a good number.
I'm going 4. It's hard to do.
Oh, extremely difficult. It's really fast.
There's a reason why. If you look at the all-time state list, there's a reason why there's not 50 guys on it under 9. I mean, it's hard.
Yeah. Oh no, it's extremely difficult. So
how many
more bold predictions? What else we got?
How many more you got? Oh boy.
We're gonna put only clip this part and put it out there.
yeah. And make sure you run this back when I go 5 for 5. Josh Heisman's going over 65 feet in a shot.
Okay, I like that. Good one.
Giving him a 1. It's not a big stretch. He's at 64 last year. Let's see. What else we got? Looking for different events.
While Jim is looking, I want to give a shout out quick to, because I now live in Point Pleasant, to mention Devin Hart transferring to Texas, getting 11th at Nationals.
Yep.
Hell of a job. What a race.
There was a good shot there of, I think it was he and Murphy.
Murphy, yeah. He had a hell of a race too.
Yep. They were next to each other like most of the race. Let's see. Big, bold.
This is your last one. Make it the biggest and boldest.
Is it? Has it been 4?
I think we got 4 already.
I thought 3, but
was that 3 or 4?
I think you're right.
No, 4 because the hurdle one.
The hurdle one was built in because he did that.
Yeah,
a little bit earlier, but it's built in as a bold prediction.
How about 2 guys are going under 6.30 in the dash?
Okay.
Wow.
How about that? I mean,
I like that. Do we have names?
Dwyer and James.
And that's like you said,
again,
Malachi James.
I don't know how bold that really is because they're already at 6:33 and 6:36 respectively now.
I mean, but that's hard.
That's hard to come down.
0.03 and 0.06 where they are is very hard. That it's a bold prediction because here's the thing: if they float around those 2 times all year, they're still top 10 in the country. Like
exactly,
it's ridiculous.
We're looking at just so in case those guys don't know and they're watching the state record. I mean, if they get to that, if they get under 6:30, we're at state record alert right there. I mean, it's 6:26.
Yeah.
So. Watch out. That's Demir Bird. You guys remember him from Timber Creek, played in the NFL.
Remember Demir.
And Mario Heslop from Franklin.
Yep.
Tragically passed away recently.
Passed away this summer in a car accident. Just awful. But, I mean, he's an all-time great in Jersey. He went 6:26 in 2018, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's bold. Both going under 6.30. Book it. It's happening. Let's 5 for 5. We're bringing it back. You guys run this back, rewind this in 2 months from now and see 5 for 5.
We'll have you on to listen. I don't mind this tradition of having you on to wrap up every season in Jersey because that's where we love to be at. We want to expand eventually, but Jersey's where our hearts are at. Well, David's still there. I'm in, New York, but that's where I am. So I love it. Jim,
Wait.
You're a wealth of knowledge. I love it. Dave, what you got?
I just want to give Jim a few minutes to talk about two things that he has a great passion for because they are actually doing well. Your Dolphins and your LA Dodgers, who have the Japanese
two topics I don't want to talk about at all.
Well, I mean, the Dodgers have replaced the Yankees as the evil empire now. Everyone looks at them as they're going to outspend everybody, and
not out of lack of trying for the Yankees, though.
Oh, I mean, everyone's
trying off for $300 million. That's it.
Everyone was in on Ohtani and Yamamoto. I mean, everybody wanted those guys, and I don't know. LA seems to be the destination, that where guys want to play now.
It also helps when someone defers $68 million every year.
And I think it was pretty obvious when that happened. If you just kind of follow, all the hints there. I mean, that's why Ohtani did it. He was setting it up so the Dodgers would have money to give to his buddy. I mean, that
and
was
you know what?
much.
For a guy like Ohtani with the sponsorship deals he's going to get and things like that, it's not anything. Listen, getting paid $200,000 in California off of $2 million is not a big deal to him, right? Because the taxes are going to bring him down so low. He might see 10% of it, but it doesn't matter.
There's a guy who doesn't care when he gets his money. He's going to get his money, and he just, I don't know. It's kind of refreshing in a way. He just loves to play ball, and
he's the Babe Ruth of all time right now. He really is doing. I don't think people realize that. Sorry for trackies that don't like baseball. What Shohei Ohtani is doing, people don't appreciate. But we're going to look back at it and go, we always talked about the Babe doing this. And we witnessed a guy pitch at a Cy Young level and hit at one of the top 10 in baseball every year. It is astronomical, and be on the Angels all this time and still lose games 10-3 because him and Mike Trout got 3 runs together. Or they would get 6 runs between the two of them and they would lose 10-6.
That was just what a failure by the Angels organization. But that's a whole nother thing. But let's just hope Ohtani, for his own sake, after the surgery, can come back and be at least close. I mean, this is his second Tommy John.
He'll be fine.
No? Yeah,
he's just. I feel like his generational talent is just so. I don't think his body actually he doesn't care what it thinks. He just does things. That good. Yeah, so you could talk about your Dolphins. Let's hear about your Dolphins. As a Jets fan, you're allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
not the best week to brag.
No, I mean, I had a great Christmas Eve. With the walk-off field goal by Jason Sanders that put him in the playoffs, but. To me, and I saw a stat today that the Dolphins are only one of, I think it was 4 teams that have been over 500 4 straight years. And it didn't even hit me. It was someone tweeted it out. It was the Steelers, the Chiefs. They're all in the AFC. Steelers, Chiefs, Dolphins, and maybe the Bills too. I couldn't believe that.
I would say Ravens maybe too. Maybe
they might have had one.
Ravens might have had.
Were they down last year because they lost Lamar and it was a Hundley show?
Yeah, they might have been down last year. But
so here's a question for you, quick, with the Dolphins. Does it concern you that their signature win this year is against the Cowboys, and then every other team that essentially has been good in championship caliber, they haven't looked great against? Now, granted, having Hill out for a little bit and stuff hasn't helped, but you get Acham back, you still have Mostart. That offense should still click even with some of the weapons out.
My biggest concern is the injuries right now. Like every team's the NFL. It's a hurt sport. It's a hurt business. Everyone's dealing with injuries. But the list right now is they have 4 guys that are probably Pro Bowlers who are out for the season. Yeah. Both edge rushers are gone. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips.
Yeah. Chubb shouldn't even been in that game Sunday.
Yeah, that's been a hot debate too. Is players want to play? You have to have guys out there.
I'll say this as a former football player. If you're a football player and you're there, if you could walk, you play. You don't care. No one could stop you. And these are grown men making a lot of money. It is hard to tell them no, especially a guy like Chubb, who is an amazing player.
And it was a non-contact injury. Yeah. And same thing with Jalen Phillips on Black Friday. He was rushing the passer. The ball.
Where was it at? The stupid Meadowlands field, or whatever the hell it's called now, MetLife Stadium. Everyone's getting
how many torn ACLs and
how many Achilles injuries are?
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. The NFL has to address that. But
a joke.
My concerns with the Dolphins is they have to win on Sunday night to really not be called the same old Dolphins. I've seen the script before. limping in as a wild card, one and done. Enough is enough. Are you going to take that next step? Are you going to man up and beat the mighty Bills who've owned a division the last couple of years since Brady left? And you're going to finally, Tua in his fourth year, is he going to finally win a big game? Don't tell me your biggest win ever is hang your hat on the Cowboy win.
And would this be so reminiscent of, after Marino gets to a Super Bowl, just every other time that Marino gets there with Clayton and stuff, where it's like, great, wild card, maybe win a game, come out like very Cowboys-esque.
No, I don't quite look at it that way, because those teams won divisions, got to AFC Championship games, got to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They were up against the Bills back then, to Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Thurman. Yeah, those teams were stacked. AFC is so wide open right now. My concern is they haven't shown up well in big games on the road. All the road games against good teams, they lost. And in those games, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. The Eagle game, the Chief game, who am I missing? The Ravens obviously blew them out. And then their fourth loss was just a brutal loss to the Titans at home. They give up, they're up by 2 touchdowns with 4 minutes to go and blow the game. So putting out all that aside, they need to win the division and get a home playoff game and win that playoff game to not be the same old Dolphins. They lose, they go to Kansas City, they get bounced, and it's how have they improved since last year? Last year, all the talk was, they made the playoffs, but they didn't have Tua down the stretch. He got concussed, he was knocked out. Well, now he's here. Let's see him win the biggest game of his NFL career on Sunday night. Get it done.
And have a home playoff game so Jim Lambert can keep his promise to his daughter.
That's the biggest reason.
Yeah. And you know what? With the NFL, they can't tell you. Sorry if we're boring. Sorry if we're boring all of our track and field.
Sorry, track guys and girls. But, you can turn it off now.
but the NFL won't, like, my daughters are like, hey, can we book this already? I'm like, well, first of all, we don't know if they're going to have a home playoff game until Sunday night. They've flexed the game out. On top of that, though, the NFL has 2 games scheduled Saturday, 3 Sunday, and a Monday night game in the first round. They can play any one of those. So you can't book anything. Flights, it's really difficult. You just have no idea. I wish they would just say, if this, and this happened, here's the schedule. But they're not giving you anything until the games this weekend are played. So, you know what?
Unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, but I am going under the conspiracy at the NFL with the logo for the Super Bowl that they're going with.
I saw that today.
All of the color schemes over the last 3 years have matched the teams that have been there.
Whoa.
Super Bowl 56 was the Rams and Bengals. It was orange and yellow. Super Bowl 57 had the green and red. It was Eagles and Kansas City. This year, it's a hint of red and purple. We're about to see a
Ravens and Niners.
What a surprise. 49ers and Ravens are 2 very high contending teams. So, there might not be a script, but there might be a script.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, go look at, just type in Super Bowl conspiracy, teams conspiracy.
So are they basically taking the top seeds, the team with the buys, and giving them those colors?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's
possibly, but these are designed preseason.
I mean, who was it last year?
Those are designed for the Super Bowl pre the season.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes things.
Because they already have the LIV logo, and it's red up top, purple down low. And it looks like the Niners and Ravens coming into this right now. It looks like the Niners and Ravens are kind of clicking.
Boy, it's amazing how the script's kind of played out, huh?
It's great. I wish the script didn't include Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles in the fourth play of week 1.
That was brutal. That was brutal. But the whole thing about the Jets could have picked up the phone and called Joe Flacco.
I don't want to hear it. I hate it all. I hate the Jets. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. With that cheery note, Jim, always a blast to have you on.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. My pleasure. Get your 2024 on, get your PRs on, and watch the bold predictions, baby. 5 for 5. We're going to run it back. I love it. So once again, talking to Nobles here. If you are so inclined, if you are a track fan, not just Jersey, in general, please go to New Jersey MileSplit. Read Jim Lambert's articles. You will be better for it. You will have a better knowledge of the sport. You will understand what's going on. He has such a pulse. And if you heard him today, there is a reason why New Jersey athletes talk to him and love talking to him. He's passionate about the sport. He understands the sport. The history is something that he probably teaches these athletes about as he talks to them, letting them know who they're chasing and things like that. And I mean, overall, just a great guy. So go support him. Go support New Jersey MileSplit.
Robert Kellett, obviously he was on here, but just, they're doing a great job. Jim does a great job. And Dave, anything else before we jump
Yeah,
ahead?
I just want to say I'm not sure if Jim or Rob had anything to do with this whatsoever, but I just checked my Flow Sport app on my
Uh-oh.
Fire Stick, and you can watch every state relay race, every state sectional group, all on the app now. So you don't have to watch it on your phone. Anybody out there who has the Flow Sport app, they have the NJSIA. All the state meets will be on. You can watch it on your TV. So that's just really, really cool. I think all that you would need is the same paid account that you would have anyway.
Yeah,
Log in on your
That's
That should
awesome.
do it. I mean,
TV, and then you don't have to watch on your tablet or phone. You can watch in your living room, which is what I will be doing starting January 10th. Have been watching on the Flow Sports app,
Yeah.
right on my
that's
TV.
That's a game changer. Live results and being
Video.
able to watch that on the app, it's just a game changer. I mean, it's got to. That's where we're headed, though, right? I mean, you got to keep up with the times. I mean, everybody wants to see everything as it's happening, and that's what MileSplit and Flow Sports. That's what they do.
I'm just
Who would have
asking
thought
people,
this back in the 90s. It's crazy. I never would have thought.
please people donate and give Flow Sport and MileSplit really a lot of money, because I just want better cameras sometimes. At some of the meets, I'm happy to see them there, but please, I just want better cameras sometimes. Sometimes they're so blurry, and it's like, I don't know who's racing. But no,
Part of it
but
too
overall,
isn't the actual cameras though. It's the Wi-Fi connection and
that is true.
transmitting it too.
It's a big battle. I mean,
That is true. But no, I'm only teasing. I love what MileSplit, I love what Flow Sport does. Sidious Mag, so many people out there that, more people than you may realize listening right now that is passionate about the sport, that is always trying to, get the sport, more notoriety and things like that. So also go follow Jim on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it right now, Twix, at Limbo2126. I don't know why he's only sitting at a little over 5,000 followers. That's a travesty. We should have the whole state following this man, because he's, wealth of knowledge and everything. So once again, Jim, thank you so much for coming on. Always a blast. We'd marathon with you, but it's well worth it. And I'm excited to have you on at the end of Indoor talking about what's about to go on in Outdoor, because let's face it, what happens in New Jersey matters nationally. So that's why we're doing it here.
that's right. No, I appreciate you guys having me on. And nothing better than talking see and track with you guys. I mean, the best sport in the world. And anytime you guys want to chat, I'm always around. And all the athletes out there, I see you guys around the track, looking for interviews, looking for your PRs, and looking for 5 hot, bold takes to come true this year, baby. Look out.
I'll listen to them. We'll type them out too. We'll get them in writing. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back next week, as always, with more great guests, more great interviews, and a great, great episode. Everyone, so long. Bye-bye now.